we're going to pick up again talking about the very first paper that started the entire thing back in 2008, written by Satoshi Nakamoto. So the part 7 of this comes to a definition by Satoshi was that the blockchain might one day get too large, so he relied upon what's called a mercantile tree system. I'm not going to go into the details here, but suffice it to say, it compresses data and it creates a chain of referrals back to the root hash. So with that, he's trying to have a methodology to do that. And lo and behold, really, Satoshi was correct. Really, the aspect of everything getting bigger and bigger and bigger is huge. And Bitcoin is a giant currency. It entails, even though we're down to $1 trillion market, from 1 trillion to 3 trillion, for the most part, Bitcoin has held a 40% valuation of the entire Bitcoin market. So you're talking about, even at $1 trillion, it's worth over $400 billion. So it's an enormous section of an enormous program. It reduces the size of the overall blockchain with the mercantile tree and makes it possible for devices with less memory to connect. You don't have to have a mega computer to connect to the system. You can do it with yours if you choose to do that. You could even conceivably actually run a mini mining operation in your house if you wanted to. If you wanted to go and rent a warehouse and load it with all kinds of different processors in there to go mining, you would have the capacity to do that. Heaven forbid you ever pay attention to what your electric bill is going to be, but that said, it is possible. So on the simplified payment verification, the basic devices connect to as blockchain nodes. So whenever you have a computer working on the blockchain, whether it's mining or whether it's tracking different aspects or working on the consensus part of approval, okay, they're a node, and they're able to host really a lightweight version of blockchain. Nodes, they get registered to the latest mercantile tree branch, in other words, data compression, rather than the entire program of hashes, and complete any single transaction and assume it's connected to the actual root hash of the entire thing. On part 9, talking about values, I'm not going to go into the details of it, but for the most part, it's about an accounting rule that clears up a mess that could happen when people decide to transact in fractions of the Bitcoin. I don't know about you, but dropping $25,000, yo, I want to buy a Bitcoin today, isn't up my alley. My whole portfolio of cryptocurrency consists of pieces of different types of coin instead of owning a physical coin or the entire Bitcoin out there. So that's pretty common. So I'm happy that we have this value for the accounting rule. So the aspect of the transactions by the cent, they're not feasible, but by combining and splitting that, so I own a portion of a Bitcoin, and I own a portion of some Ethereum, and I own a portion of Cardano. I have different portions of different aspects of it because of the fact that the blockchain has the capacity to split. The other part on privacy is a big thing. It's good and it's bad. This is the dark part of it, and we'll talk more about the dark web at a later point. But really, banks limit access to transactions taking place, and they get to record the identities of the participants. Banks have a cap of $9,999 or $10,000. You go over that, and all of a sudden they start asking for all kinds of ID because they're underneath federal laws in the United States to prevent people from withdrawing or placing into account something without some type of identification. Bitcoin doesn't do that. It's very different, and it publishes each transaction as it happens in real time, which is a different aspect than banks. It's valuable, it has value, it really has the 5 traits of money that fiat money has as well, except for the fact it can be handled very differently, quickly, and without anybody's name involved with it whatsoever. Blockchain users have a public key that identify themselves to a network and a private key to sign the coin sent to them. So if you decide you're going to buy into cryptocurrency, you will eventually have a key. And heaven forbid if you lose or forget what that key is, because it is gone, gone, gone. So never do that. We'll talk about security later on, and make certain that nobody ever steals your phone if you don't have your own wallet in it or some type of locking device to make certain. Otherwise, they'll access your entire cryptocurrency thing and have a nice, happy little bank themselves that was once upon a time yours. The calculations. Okay, impenetrable network, Okay, one, unable to be attacked by bad actors, those Byzantine generals, you got to watch out for those guys. Okay, but some of them are girls too. Just want to let you know. Okay, even if a chain's created to rival an honest ones, in other words, you're building another parallel chain, trying to get that other chain to attack the very first one. The issue really comes down to they'll never match because of the identity issue of the nodes and the different types of coding that happens in the chains. All the bad actors do, they can race the honest chain to become longer, but and erase their own transaction from the block they create. But statistically, it's impossible because the longer the chain before dishonest actor it completes it, it's exponentially amount of greater CPU power needed to catch up. It simply can't happen on the calculations. So this is a little bit technical. My apologies for that, but the reality is on a blockchain itself, unless it's written wrong, you have an impenetrable device that can sit down and not be hacked with the transactions, provided you remember what your chain is. In conclusion, okay, this closes the loop on Bitcoin. The final part of the white paper zooms back out and illustrates to the reader why each piece of Bitcoin's balanced system is necessary and how they all work together. You know, in conclusion, we already have one country has adopted Bitcoin as legal tender, El Salvador, on June 15, 2021. Is it the beginning? And I don't know about El Salvador, you actually have some local areas in the United States that are adopting Bitcoin to pay your local property taxes. It's the beginning of something. We're going to see everything from digital dollars to cryptocurrency being used for all kinds of things in the next many years and years to come. I want to mention one last thing. There's a thing called Bitcoin halving. Okay, so they chop the number of Bitcoins that are actually cut in half. And so what they have is a built-in tool in Bitcoin that there's actually a schedule published out there. So every few years, the halving, okay, reduces the rate of inflation and then prices the price of Bitcoin upward. So in other words, right now, as of 2022, Bitcoin miners were awarded 6.25 Bitcoins for each block that they built successfully. The next halving occurs in 2024. In 2024, that reward will only be half of what it was before. The intention is over time, each halving will diminish and the block reward will approach zero. Some people are coming out saying Bitcoin will hit $100,000 after this next halving, because what happens is the mining, you mine, and the aspect of producing more Bitcoin diminishes until eventually there will be no more new Bitcoin. The existing Bitcoin then will become a higher quality commodity as people pursue it. So the Bitcoin halving raises the overall value. Bitcoin here to stay, I would say so. So we'll see what the future holds. What's changed since 2008 and 9? Mining centralization, the popularity drove the price up. You have distributed finance. Okay, so you have that aspect of it. It's got a lot of momentum, and you'll have a lot of people out there saying Bitcoin's nature of being decentralized and trustless. By the time it's all done, that's the most important value that it really has. You'll see things we'll talk about later on called ICOs, initial coin offerings. It's much more decentralized. Bitcoin is more decentralized, transparent, and democratic than all the other top cryptocurrencies. So bottom line, the idea of a distributed payment tech is that Bitcoin will survive in some form moving into the next decade. But for right now, Bitcoin will have many birthdays to come. Take care.